council Zoom record that we set in June. And I welcome everyone here this afternoon. I know it takes a little extra effort to make the time. I want to inform everybody that this is an official rural council meeting. So we will be recording the meeting for the purposes of writing our minutes and recording our actions. So that if you don't want to be recorded, you're welcome to stay, but you can turn your mic and your camera off. So the agenda today is going to be, we're going to cover the Rural Impact Awards first. Then we are going to have some actual business. That'll be the nominating committee. Chris Benzing will give his report and the nominations for officers for the coming year. And then finally, we'll have the executive director's report. And Charlotte has done, and her staff actually have done an amazing number of things this year, considering all of the adjustments and remote things that we had to do this year. So I'm looking forward to you hearing her report. Do we have anything else before we get started, Charlotte?
That's it.
Well, the first thing on the agenda here is the recognition of the leadership and dedication, outstanding rural volunteer. And for this award, I'd like to turn it over to Josh Hastings. I assume Josh is here, County Commissioner. There he is.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. So I'm happy to present this award, the Rural Community Volunteer Award. This is awarded for leadership, dedication, and noteworthy volunteer achievement beyond one's duties, professional duties, and then to help improve their community. We, as the Rural Maryland Council, are pleased to present this award to, I'll say, we're going to present this award to an individual who I believe I got to know in 1991 when I was about 2 feet shorter. And he used to come to my family's farm and share some knowledge as well as pick up some knowledge. And I got to be good friends with him. And dare I say that was 30 years ago. So we are happy and pleased to present this award to Errol Maddox, recognized for his commitment to the Rural Maryland Council and his time served as a board member. As an executive board member for over a decade, Errol's a dedicated attendee and advocate for agriculture. In his role as the Agriculture Committee Chair, he convened stakeholders and served on the Governor's Intergovernmental Commission on Agriculture. He was a strong advocate for a lot of local farmers markets, hemps, and small farms. Honor to present this this award to Errol Maddox. So, Errol, would you like to say something?
My mic is not working.
We can hear you.
You can?
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. That's right. I've known Josh since he was a toddler, almost. But I appreciate it. I was surprised when I received the email saying I was nominated, and I said I would do a short speech, and it is short. And my response has been, or the reason I do it is, if I don't do it, who will? And when I first moved back to the shore, there were a lot of folks saying, oh, they do it. And we figured it out a long time ago, they don't do it. And the other part was change. When I started my organic farm, there was really nothing happening. So I got involved with the group that was doing organic farming. In those days, it was all volunteer, well before the days of the NOP. And we did small steps, small steps, small steps. A small step change is a few years ago, we weren't growing, hemp was not grown in Maryland because of many reasons. And after 3 years of advocating, we now have hemp growing in Maryland. And last but not least, government tends not to be innovative. And that's one of the reasons I think sitting on boards, on committees, or disbanding with like-minded folks, we poke and prod and advocate, and then change slowly occurs. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I miss you guys. It's been a long ride, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And thanks again.
Thank you very much. Errol, when I've been involved with the RMC for about 7 years, you were always there at every meeting. I really appreciate that. And you predated me by decades, so we really appreciate your support. Also, we would like to have a recognition from the Pardon's office and also from the governor's office.
Good afternoon. It's
Say a few
Kimberly.
words.
Sure.
Oh.
It's Kimberly Cradaville from Senator Ben Cardin's office. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today and bring greetings from the federal delegation. I know Melissa Kelly's on the line as well from Senator Van Hollen's office. So we're representing the folks in Washington and bringing greetings to the Rural Maryland Council and specifically to the honorees today. So it's an honor and a privilege to see all of you and to recognize the fantastic work that you're doing, particularly in our rural communities as well as across the state. These are unprecedented times, and your leadership, particularly now, is very much appreciated. And it's like I said, it's an honor just to be here today with you all. So congratulations to the honorees, and thank you to the Rural Maryland Council for all that you do every day across the state.
Thank you. And Ryan, are you here?
Yes, can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. It's so nice to see you. I wish we were all in person, but to think we have almost 100 advocates from across the state. What an honor to be here and bring greetings from Governor Hogan. This year, I think some words we can think of to describe 2020. It's been quite a year. Perseverance, adaptability. These are all things that we all are doing in our organizations and lives every day to continue to change Maryland and leave an impact for those around us. So with that, please know that we have sent 5 citations to the honorees, and we're so proud to be here and recognize you. So thank you all, and best wishes for a successful and upcoming year.
Thank you, Ryan. And give our greetings to the governor.
I will do so. Thank you.
The next thing on our agenda is going to be the Outstanding Rural Community Development, and I'm going to turn it over to Mike Delkey.
All right, well, thank you, John. And it is my sincere pleasure to award the Outstanding Rural Community Development Award. It's awarded to a program, project, or organization that substantially improves the quality of life in at least one rural community. And so this year, we're delighted to recognize Dave Whelan with the Chestertown and Talbot SPY. So before I go on with the prepared remarks, I'm going to do a little bit of personal recognition of Dave. I've known Dave since, I think, 1989, when I first moved to Chestertown. Known him since he was the vice president for development at Washington College. And then he went on to work development for the Nature Conservancy. And so the Eastern Shore of Maryland, I think, has been really blessed by Dave's decision to return to the Eastern Shore back in, I think it was 2007 or 2008. and I was able to reacquaint with Dave and have seen the trials and tribulations as well as the successes that he's achieved since his return in trying to bring something of real value and significance to rural Eastern Shore. And that is an alternative way to get news and information out to the residents of the shore. So again, Dave was the founder of the Chestertown and Talbot Spy, which is a hyper-local digital newspaper serving the residents of Maryland's mid-shore. Dave founded the Spy Community Media, formerly the Community Newspaper Project, in 2008, with the Chestertown Spy opening in March of 2009 as a daily digital newspaper serving Kent County, Maryland. The paper's ad revenue and readership grew over time, with readers from a wider geographic range, including Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Delaware. And I'm going to sidebar by saying that Dave's probably got the most impressive distribution list on the Eastern Shore. 3 years later, Dave founded the Talbot Spy. Since then, the two publications have seen over 2 million page views. The Spy publishes new content every day of the week. Subscribers, free, get a daily email every day at 3 p.m. with links to the most recently published content. In this time of uncertainty for traditional print news, Dave has stepped in to develop local media and news. We are delighted to present this year's Outstanding Rural Community Development Award to Dave Whelan. So Dave, I don't know if you're with us.
I have a video. If he's not,
Okay.
I can play that now. Alrighty. If I can find it. Okay. Share. Oh, hold on.
Also a
Oh,
portal.
hold on. I guess I should start it from the beginning.
Honored to receive the Outstanding Rural Community
Oh, folks can hear
Development
it?
Award on behalf of the Chestertown Spy, the Talbot Spy, and the Cambridge Spy. These online education-based news sources were created to serve these unique rural communities on the Eastern Shore by highlighting their public affairs, creative arts, and distinctive regional culture on a daily basis. Our first newspaper was named in 2009 to honor the first newspaper in Chestertown in 1793. And we intentionally replicated that colonial publication's broad scope of content, which not only provided the news of the community, but also a portal for the more general interests such as poetry, history, philosophy, theater, and a diversity of opinion on the local, state, and national issues of the day. Over the last 10 years, and with the help of dozens of volunteer writers, photographers, and video producers, the Spy newspapers have brought to these communities critical, nonpartisan information about the most pressing challenges in their communities, while at the same time being a source of celebration for rural living that rarely can be seen in traditional mainstream media these days. As we begin the new year this January, we are proud and humbled that collectively the Spy newspapers now have over 600,000 unique readers a year and consume over 5.5 million pages of content. Within these stories are portraits of rural Maryland that I'd like to believe is very much in sync with your organization's mission. Our goal is to bring together citizens, grassroots, community-based organizations, federal, state, county, and municipal government officials, as well as representatives of the for-profit and nonprofit sector to collectively address the needs of the rural midshore of the state. Those stories have been dramatically enhanced by harnessing the multimedia power of the internet. For the first time in many cases, rural citizens can actually see and hear their local mayor or councilperson discuss pressing concerns, learn of services within the communities from the people who run them, or be introduced to the talented artists and performers in these towns. To date, the SPY has produced over 4,000 of these profiles, and we will continue to explore and expand our multimedia efforts as we look for other communities that might need a SPY in the future. Maryland's rural communities have extraordinary challenges, but also some remarkable opportunities, mainly as we hopefully come to the end of the COVID crisis next year. We would very much look forward to working with the council in sharing these stories as our state, and particularly the Eastern Shore, move past this difficult and painful chapter. In the meantime, our heartfelt thanks and appreciation to the Maryland Rural Council for this special honor. This kind of recognition keeps us all the more motivated in serving the communities that we love now and in the future. My thanks again.
So I don't know if Kim or Ryan have any thing that they want to share. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to John.
I would just say we have citations for all of the honorees, and so once again, appreciate the opportunity. And I know that I realize there are other Van Hollen and Congressman Harris's folks are on as well. So your entire federal delegation is represented. So once again, thank you all.
Thank you. So moving on, the next award is the Outstanding Rural Economic Development Project. And we're going to turn that over to Dan.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have to say that this is a very challenging award to win, and having personal hands-on experience with the Greater Cumberland Committee, I'm just deeply honored to deliver this award today. This award is for leadership, dedication, and noteworthy achievement to help improve economic development opportunities in rural communities. For those reasons, we're delighted today to recognize the Greater Cumberland Committee. In 2020, GGCC celebrates its 20th anniversary and achievement of many milestones in its North-South Appalachian Highway program of work. In a year that's seen one of the most challenging economic crises of our time, we believe the Greater Cumberland Committee's achievements demonstrate the strengths and resiliency of the organization. The foundation of its success has been its innovative and collaborative style of leadership in conjunction with its ability to convene, create, and cultivate critical partnerships with elected officials at all levels of government, leaders of nonprofit, governmental, and civic organizations, and influential members of the community who have all helped to drive this program of work forward. Designated as its signature project in 2009, the completion of the North-South corridor will, quote, increase safety of all vehicles and offer a faster travel route that reduces overall transportation costs, as well as provides significant benefits to the region's economy, unquote. Greater Cumberland Committee has served as the convener and facilitator of this tri-state highway infrastructure project for more than a decade, during which time 11 miles of Corridor N were completed in Pennsylvania in 2018, and then 1.3 miles are to be completed in Garrett County later this month. Total investment leverage exceeds $500 million. It includes everything from the design, engineering, construction costs to the recent completion of the cost-benefit analysis and economic impact study. In addition, the Greater Cumberland Committee and its partners have made substantial in-kind contributions to the project, hundreds of hours of strategic planning, risk assessment, and tactical action steps designed to advance the project to completion. Jennifer Walsh, the Executive Director of the Greater Cumberland Committee, is here to accept the award. Jennifer, I hope that you would love to give us some words of cheer today.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Charlotte, and thank you, all of you on the council, for recognizing our work. I just had the opportunity to meet with Megan and Charlotte in the last month or so, and I'm really looking forward to having a stronger relationship with the Rural Maryland Council. So thanks again, Dan. We're just really absolutely delighted to be accepting this award today on behalf of the organization. Really an incredible honor. And as Dan said, we are celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. And so this is really a capstone to those celebrations. So thank you. I want to just quickly thank Senator Edwards for nominating the Greater Cumberland Committee for this work, and Leanne Mazur from the Tri-County Council, and Garrett County Commissioner Jim Heinbaugh for supporting our nomination, and then for all of you on the council who saw it fit to award this incredible recognition to us. I know that I have a number of my executive committee members on today's call, so I want to just thank all of them for all of their sage wisdom and guidance, and really, helping to guide and participate in all of our programs of work. So in addition, just very briefly, I'll share with you just what the Greater Cumberland Committee is and what we're up to. In addition to the North-South program of work, which I want to highlight some of those successes that Dan shared, we are a regionally focused economic development organization. I think what makes us unique among other regional economic development organizations is that we work across 3 states and 5 counties. So we're very adept at dealing across state line and jurisdictions. And we're really focused on 4 primary areas of work. So we have the North-South corridor, which is the ADHS highway project that Dan mentioned. And we also participate in education and workforce development through our education committee, economic development through our I-68 Regional Alliance, and energy and natural resources, which is how I'm acquainted with Dan, in a committee of that name. And I think what Dan highlighted is really sort of our magic sauce, which is that we've really come to be known over the 20 years as an organization that is really successful at convening and creating and cultivating important relationships. So we count among our strategic partnerships elected officials at the local, state, and federal levels at ARC and other important federal and state agencies. We work with leaders in nonprofits and in civic and government organizations as part of our partners and stakeholders. And then the business community, so business leaders across the region, are really the financial backbone of our organization and are critical really to driving our programs of work forward. So I think that in 2020, what has been absolutely critical to our success, and as Dan mentioned, we've really, I think, demonstrated the strength and resiliency of our organization. And it's really, I think, been a result of our ability to do what you all mentioned earlier, which is this ability to really pivot as a result of the health crisis into the virtual space. And so we've been able to take all of our programming onto Zoom. And I know we all have Zoom fatigue, but it's truly been a silver lining for us because we've had more engagement and more participation than ever. So I know you noted that you've got record attendance at these meetings, and we've also had that same experience, which I think has really brought a lot of value to our community, and that we've been able to bring incredible speakers, really innovative and interesting programming to members and partners that either haven't been engaged before or had to travel some distance to be involved. And now folks can hop on and really have the efficiency of having the meeting and getting the benefit of the content without having to spend the day attending. So I think that's really been a silver lining and will be a best practice for the organization moving forward. And in that virtual space, we've also been able to move our committee meetings, which has also meant additional engagement. And so one of the successes that well, let me just say this. We have had incredible success in the North-South program of work this year. And I think if you had asked any one of us in this work group at the beginning of the year, if we would have expected to have this recent announcement that many of you may have seen in the newspaper in the last few weeks, that Pennsylvania has agreed to fund the preliminary engineering for the remaining 6 miles in Pennsylvania of this corridor at a cost of $6 million, none of us would have expected that we would have achieved that milestone this year. The stars have just really aligned. We've had many major successes sort of over the course of the year that led to this most recent announcement, including the studies that Dan referenced. But I think it's really been, and I definitely want to shine a light on all of the incredible work of so many of our stakeholders and partners. And so I really am just super excited that we've landed where we have in this really, sort of bleak economic time. We've had this opportunity to have these incredible successes this year. And, looking into the future, we now have the pressure on Maryland State Highway to make a similar announcement for the remaining 1.5 miles in Maryland. We have the construction that Dan mentioned is getting ready to be completed on 1.3 miles in Maryland. And so, I think this ability for our organization and our team to really have this long view in mind and to really understand that it requires, strategic planning and tactical decision making that is looking far into the future has really, led to important successes within our work group. So thank you again for really shining a spotlight on this program of work. It's really important to continuing to garner the support we need at all levels of government, and particularly as it relates to the federal level of seeking additional funding for the ADHS system. And it's just really been a pleasure to have this engagement with the Rural Maryland Council, and I'm certainly looking forward to learning more and working with all of you more closely. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. This is a year of low probability events, and sometimes those events are really successes. And I want to compliment you on the successes that you've been able to have this year.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
So now we're down in the agenda to the,
John,
yes.
this is Senator Edwards. Can I chime in real quick?
Yes, go ahead.
Before you move on, it's
Sure.
a great thing doing here. Looking at the numbers, you got 92 participants according to my computer here, which is really outstanding. The people are chiming in to see what's going on with the Rural Maryland Council and the things that are happening in rural parts of the state. I'm not going to add to what Dan said or Jennifer said. It's good to have a group out in the mountains here to gain this outstanding rural economic development award from the council. I can tell you that a lot of effort and energy has been put in. This shows that, as Jennifer said, there's 5 counties, 2 Pennsylvania, 2 Maryland, 1 West Virginia, where adjoining states can work together on projects, and the federal government, the state government, local governments can all work together across political boundaries and across the boundary of politics to get done for the people. And I'm thankful to all those who've chimed in to help get us to this point, because the recognition basically is for this north-south project, which is very, very important to Mountain Maryland, to hopefully stimulate our economic development here. And Jennifer deserves a lot of credit. She's kind of been the lead person here, the lead dog, so to speak, and done a tremendous job getting all these counties and states, federal reps, state reps, county reps together to forward. And there is some light there at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully we can brighten that light and get this done before too awfully long in the realm of construction of roads. I would say Dan said, Jennifer, they want to try to have the mile and a half part in Garrett County done by the end of the year. I'm not sure that's going to happen. We got hit with a winter storm yesterday. So all you people that like to ski, they pump snow out at the Wisp to go on top of the 8 to 10 inches they got on the ground from nature, and come out this weekend and ski and spend a little money and help the economy out here. So again, I want to congratulate the Greater Cumberland Committee, and we did present a Senate resolution for this recognition to them last week. So congratulations and thank you to the Rural Maryland Council for recognizing a group that's doing a tremendous job in Maryland. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay, so this year we're recognizing 2 rural champions for outstanding leadership in public and promoting legislation and or policy solutions to benefit rural communities. It's my pleasure to recognize both of them today. The senators are Senator Douglas J.J. Peters and Senator Steve Hershey. I'm going to start first by introducing Senator Peters. I first met Senator Peters, interestingly, at a rural Maryland day in Annapolis. I was part of Mike Pennington's group. I was a newbie, and we were going around to visit offices, and Senator Peters was one of the people that we went and talked to. He joined the Rural Maryland Executive Board. It's been faithfully coming to meetings. First elected to the Senate in 2006. Senator Peters serves as the Budget and Taxation on the Budget and Taxation Committee. He's actually the chair of the Capital Budgets Subcommittee. He's a strong supporter of veterans, including the Homeland Town Heroes Act. That act is really important in Southern Maryland. Down here, some of you may not know that in the Tri-County area, Southern Maryland, 11% of our population in Southern Maryland are veterans. It's one of the highest concentrations in the whole United States. Senator Peters has supported Rural Maryland Prosperity Investment Fund appropriations, as well as the Maryland Agricultural Education and Rural Development Assistance Fund, and a Maryland agricultural-based resource. And you know that I always call it MARBIDCO. I can never remember what the acronym actually means.
MERDAF.
I know, and MERDAF and MARBIDCO. So he sponsored legislation to encourage outdoor garden classrooms in our schools, support the horse racing industry, perpetuate conservation easements. He's also been a supporter of legislation to lower the capital match requirements for library cost sharing programs for smaller jurisdictions, and that actually was key to us getting our Southern Maryland Regional Library here in Charlotte Hall. And he's been on that capital budgets. It's been important for us. And in the past 3 years, he's supported approximately $10 million in broadband expansion funds. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to add to that this year because of COVID, but I'm certainly optimistic the time is right for more broadband being accomplished in the rural areas. And is Senator Peters here, Charlotte?
Yep, he's here. You're on mute though, Senator.
I thought it was a dream to have a politician on mute, so I have myself on mute. Let me say this, that really what happened 10 years ago brought me into the rural Maryland. My district was mostly suburban. We had redistricting, and then I all of a sudden had a number of farms down 301. An emu farm that I visited, a horse farm that I visited, because these were new constituents that I didn't serve before. So I got active in the soil conservation dinners. I joined the Farm Bureau, the Young Farmers, and really it educated me as to the needs that the rural area had. So it's been really helpful to me. And so any way I can help, I've done so based on your expertise and people on this call, and particularly my colleagues on this call, George and Addie and Steve. We work in a bipartisan manner. And so I'm really flattered and honored to get this award. What we do is help people. And if we can, we'll get some more money for the broadband. I think everybody knows it's the #1 priority, not just for rural, but particularly for safety. The fact that in this COVID environment, when you can't communicate through your laptop or Zoom from your home, and there's an emergency, I mean, this needs to really be elevated. So I'm sure we're all going to be fighting for that. And I'm just, again, I'm really honored to be here and to receive the award and to help you and work with my colleagues. So appreciate it.
We certainly appreciate your support, both in the past and in the future. Charlotte, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. No, I appreciate Senator Peters' willingness to work with the council. He's always been available to us when we've needed to talk to him. And I've always been impressed with his willingness to learn about our issues. So definitely appreciate his service and thank him for his efforts.
Well, we're looking forward to the day when we can have Rural Maryland Council and Rural Maryland Day, and I can come directly to your office. Don't think it'll happen this year, but you never know. And thanks again. The second Rural Maryland Champion Award this year goes to Senator Stephen Hershey. After serving in the Maryland House of Delegates, Senator Hershey was elected to the Senate in 2014, where he currently serves on the Senate Finance Committee. Many of you might recall Senator Hershey sponsored legislation last year to expand the rural broadband by seeking authorization for Choptank Electric Cooperative. And we have had some success in doing more efforts down here in Southern Maryland as well. The effort will help those reach rural households on the Eastern Shore receive high-speed internet. He's also sponsored legislation to create tax credits for data centers, which will help encourage rural economic development. Senator Hershey has been a strong advocate for the rural health programs where when the Chestertown Hospital was thought to be closing, the senator fought to ensure access to healthcare services in the mid-shore. He sponsored legislation creating the Mid-Shore Health Collaboration. He's been working with rural health services delivery modes, recognizing the lack of healthcare providers. The senator has sponsored the creation of the telehealth care pilot program to include Medicare coverage of delivery of mental health services and patient services at home. And I can certainly tell you that I'm in the high maintenance age group when it comes to health, and I have been Zooming pretty regularly with my physicians. It's really important if you're in the rural areas. And I'd like to turn it over to Senator Hershey. Is the senator there? You go.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate that, and quite an honor to be recognized by the Rural Maryland Council. As you said, in referencing some of the legislation that I was able to work on this past session, largely that came about is finally we had a year where Chestertown Hospital wasn't the priority legislation that I had regarding the rural area. I think we had finally accomplished enough with the previous year's legislation in setting up the collaborative that we kind of had a little bit of a reprieve. So I had an opportunity to work on some additional legislation, some that you mentioned, but I'll just kind of detail a little bit of that. There's a little bit of foresight that we had with the telehealth bill. Senate President Ferguson had come to me and actually made the recommendation to put something forward to cover telehealth services through Medicare. And largely that was a result of him, as he became the Senate President, he actually came out to the Eastern Shore into my district, and we took him up to Chestertown. And he had told me, he goes, if there's anything I can do to help you with Chestertown Hospital, let me know. And as I said, fortunately, we were pretty okay with that. And we started talking about the transportation issues of patients as they try to get the care that they need. And so we found, an idea to start trying to see if we could expand telehealth. And so not only were we able to make it so that Medicare would cover those services, we also expanded the bill with help from one of my colleagues in Montgomery County. Delegate had a piece of legislation that wanted to look at chronic care. So we added that into the bill as a pilot program. And then we also had a number of advocates from the behavioral health industry ask us to add substance abuse disorder and the treating of that. And we got a little bit of pushback on that, but what we were able to get through in the bill was at least the Department of Health will study can substance abuse disorders be handled through telehealth. And as my colleague, Senator Ecker knows, we've had a number of conversations with the behavioral health advocates during the interim. And we're going to introduce legislation that will expand telehealth, that will probably allow for substance abuse disorders to be included, and also move into providing telehealth through phone calls and just from audio only, which is a big step for us. So there was a lot of foresight in going into this, and unfortunately the pandemic, but it did highlight a number of the deficiencies and needs that we have in the rural counties. And this is certainly one of them. You also mentioned that we took a piece of legislation that we had tried the previous year. My colleague, Senator Peters, was actually the co-sponsor with me on the data center bill. That came from Kent County. That was a local bill. Jamie Williams up there, the Economic Development Director, brought to my attention the fact that Maryland was not providing the same type of incentives that other states were providing when it comes to attracting data centers to the state. So we worked with the Department of Commerce and we crafted a bill based on the previous years, but we made some upgrades to it that basically just provides a tax credit. So it doesn't take anything out of the state coffers. If more money comes in, then not everything has to be paid in the form of a credits. And again, my colleague, Doug Peters and Senator Edwards, who is also on Budget and Tax Committee, along with Senator Ecker, were able to help get that through. And that was another last minute bill that we were able to get through in the shortened legislative session. And finally, I will mention broadband. And, that was a big bill that we had this year. Again, the pandemic has highlighted the needs and the deficiencies that we have here on the Eastern Shore with broadband. But that was, again, a piece of legislation that took a very different approach to how we were going to set up the infrastructure for delivering broadband services. The electric co-op here on the Eastern Shore came to us with an idea that they could use some of their infrastructure to expand broadband to underserved areas. But it had some problems to begin with. There was some hesitancy on a regulated energy supplier, then going into the unregulated market. Delegate Sample Hughes did an outstanding job of getting that through the House of Delegates. And then Senator Eckert and I worked well together on making sure that all the issues were addressed. We came up with a little bit of a different plan with regards to how the bill was structured. Chop Tank Electric got on board with that. They then went back and asked their members for a vote on using this, which the members did approve this year. So they're off and running, and hopefully they're going to deliver broadband services to many of these underserved areas. But as Senator Peters mentioned, I think that we're going to see this is one of the biggest issues that we deal with in the upcoming legislative session. And not just from the rural perspective, but we're also seeing an affordability perspective that Baltimore City is concerned about. But it at least is bringing broadband to the top of the list and the issues that we're doing. And it's always helpful for us in the rural areas to have support from our colleagues on the other side of the aisle in getting things done. And again, I appreciate all of Senator Peters' efforts in helping us with a number of pieces of legislation that have been important to us. Finally, I just want to thank Charlotte and all of the other supporters of rural areas that are in Annapolis and give us the tools that we need to again, work across the aisle, get people, our colleagues, to understand the issues that are important to us. Just join this from being on the Board of Public Works call, waiting to hear what they are going to decide with trying to get us some additional natural gas energy infrastructure to Somerset County, which again is extremely important for us from an economic development standpoint. So thank you, Charlotte, for all of your help down there as well, and being that vital resource for all of us. And again, it's quite an honor to receive this award, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. And again, we will hopefully see you in Annapolis, but it might not be this year.
We look forward to it, and we'll certainly find some time to do that. Thank you.
Charlotte, did you have anything else before we move on to the business?
Well, I just wanted to let all the award winners know that you will be receiving your award in the mail probably in about a week or two. So be on the lookout for it.
Thank you.
The next thing I have here is to turn the meeting over to the chair of the nominating committee.
So that's me.
That's you. Thank you, Chris.
If you can see my picture, this is the sing-along sheet that you're going to be looking at. It's a chart inside the packet that you received that has the in highlights the changes to the board and to the executive committee. So as you may recall, we issued a call for board nominations at the last board meeting in September. And the nominating committee met on November 4th to determine the 2021 RMC executive board and officers. And we've attached the slate and the bios for the new members. For 2021, we're pleased to renominate John Hartline to continue as RMC chair. For first chair, we are nominating Greg Padham, and I will step in as the second vice chair and remain nominating chair. We are delighted to welcome Dr. Heidi Anderson to the RMC Executive Committee, and a special thanks to Josh Hastings for his service, as he will step down from the RMC Executive Board. I've been around now, I think 6 years, and I've never known it to be without Josh. So hopefully, you know, we can manage somehow without him. But thank you, Josh. You've been terrific. We're welcoming 3 new board members: Sam Shoge from Kent County, Debbie Bowden from Caroline County, and Matt Holloway from Wacomico County. If you can read very quickly, their bios are up on the are in the packet as well. But we're going to kind of move this along. So the slate has been presented from the nominating committee. Are there any nominations for any position from the floor or the Zoom? Hearing none, I move to present the RMC Executive Board and officer slate to be adopted. Can I get a second for that, please?
Wilbur, I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner. All in favor of accepting the slate as presented, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. I love that quiet. Thank you. Any abstentions? This is like super easy. All right. The 2021 RMC Executive Board and Officers slate has been approved. Thank you, everyone, for your offers to either move up or to move on to. And again, Josh, thank you for all the years on the executive committee. You know, you're not out of the woods. We're still going to be dragging you in for stuff, but thanks.
Chris, really appreciate your work on the nominating committee. And we appreciate it so much, we want you to continue.
Get to keep doing it. That's right. John, I appreciate you as chair, and I appreciate it so much you get to keep doing it.
And with that, we will move on to Charlotte Davis for the executive director's report.
Okay, just real quick, everyone should have received the staff activity reports in the packet of materials that were sent out. We did welcome a new staff member, Dakota Matthews. He should be on the line. He's from Frostburg, and we're delighted to have him as our program coordinator. And then some dates to keep in mind. Also included in the material was the 2021 calendar. Those are all the dates for the year. Please put them on the calendars now. But I did want to highlight some upcoming meetings for early next year. We are planning Rural Maryland Day on February 11th. So please put that date on and plan to participate. It will be virtual, so you won't have to come to Annapolis. And we'll be sending out details at a future date. The legislative committee is going to start meeting again. Unless folks, we may try to squeeze in a meeting here in December. However, for the calendar purposes, the first legislative committee meeting's scheduled for January 11th. If folks are not on that committee but would like to join, please let us know. We're always looking for people that want to join that committee. The committee meets every 2 weeks. We review legislation that's been introduced, as well as review position statements and other budget information as we get it. As you guys know, we do the Rural Summit every 2 years. We dodged a bullet this year. So 2021 will be Rural Summit. So we will begin planning. The Rural Summit Planning Committee is going to meet January 7th. If folks would like to join us for that, more the merrier. We'd love to have you. Again, these are all virtual meetings. So we'll be sending more details for that in the future, but let us know if you want to be a part of that planning committee. You saw the link in the agenda for the fiscal year 2020 annual report. So please take a look at that. Let me know if there are any corrections. We're getting ready to submit that to the Department of Legislative Services. And then finally, this is our 25th year. RMC operations since the beginning, the legislation that established the council in 1995. So I did update, included in the materials are the RMC milestones. So you'll see we've had I think you can see the progression over the years, and just really excited to make it to year 25 and hopefully another 25 years more. And that's it for my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Do we have any questions for Charlotte?
Thank you, Charlotte. A great job. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, I guess no questions.
We do have a few legislators.
Yes.
I'm going to run through them real quick, and I don't know if any of them, we had Senator Edwards, Senator Eckert, Senator Peters, Senator Hershey, but we also have Delegate Senator Hester is also on the line. Delegate Mike McKay, Delegate Michelle Guyton, Delegate Cherie Sample Hughes, and Delegate Marianne Lisanti. I think I got everybody.
Thank you.
Well, we're down to new business. We have a minute or two here. Do any of the legislators want to say a few words?
Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
how are you? Thank you all. John, thank you to your team for pivoting very quickly. The whole gang, you all are just such a driving force, and we're so glad through these 25 years as we go into that 25th year. George and I were around in the beginning when we transitioned from the Rural Forum into rural Maryland, and we actually had quite a Phoenix experience there for a while. We thought we were just going to go away, but we did, if you remember, we did a lot of brainstorming back in those days. And as I look back on it, we actually were figuring out where we wanted to go with the previous director. And even though things got a little skinny for a while, we were really able to regroup, lay the groundwork, put in a good structure. And I just want to say to the board and Charlotte, again, I can't thank you enough for the difference it's made in being able to bring to bear the resources of what we need in the rural areas. And who would have thought, as we championed broadband, we would have a pandemic to drive that even further quicker. So we'll take any and all factors that will contribute to meeting our goals, right? And we look forward to 25 more good years. To my legislator colleagues, thank you so much for being engaged in this, and congratulations, Senator Hershey and Senator Peters, for joining forces and moving things along. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
John?
Yes.
This is Josh Hastings. I just wanted to say, as a local government legislator, I just want to say how important it is to have a good having the RMC being active and all of the grants and all the work that really hits at the local level, and it's much needed. And I'll say on a personal level, the Rural Maryland Council it's my favorite board that I've served on. It's a great group of people. I'm a proud rural Maryland guy, so it's been a pleasure serving on the board for the past 7 years or so. So I just want to say thanks to everyone who's here, and thanks for all who helped make that happen, and especially all the staff. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. It's you get to 25 years by having continuous people step in when they're most needed, and we appreciate you doing that in the past. And well, since we're going to be around quite a while into the future, don't be surprised if you back here again.
Right. That's true.
Well, thank you. Do we have any other new business? Hearing none. I guess I can ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. And good to see you, Steve.
Thank you,
and
John.
You were here in the early days as executive director.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so proud to see the council do so well after 25
Yep.
great years.
Well, thank you for your service, and we'll be seeing you in Annapolis probably personally in the near future.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlotte.
Thanks.
We're
We've got more-
officially adjourned.
And I'll
More
hang
work
around.
to do, Charlotte.
Yeah, never
More
ends.
broadband stuff. I'll get back to you.
Okay. Yeah.
Bill.
See you, everybody.
You have a
See
good
ya.
one.
Yeah.
Take care, Bill.
See you, Bill. See you,
See ya.
Wilbur.
See ya.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Let me know if you need anything.
Gotcha.
I'm hanging out until there's
Be
anything.
safe.
Yes, stay safe, everyone. Particularly you guys out there in Western Maryland. Guys
Bye-bye.
gotta- Bye. Good to see you,
Bye.
Sandy.
Good to see you, Charlotte. Yeah. Have a
See
good
ya.
holiday, everyone.
Yep. Have a good Christmas. If we don't see
Safe,
you.
safe and healthy holiday.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye-bye.